So one of the biggest things you guys have been telling me in person and in my DMs is I hate my job, I feel stuck. And a little side note, I love the DMs, so I appreciate that. But if you were to leave your comments underneath the video of suggestions or things you want me to talk about, it's going to help this channel reach even more people. So consider that. I promise I'll still reply. But yeah, a lot of y'all are like, I need a change. And we're not talking about how to quit your job. We already did that video. We're talking more along the lines you overall like your current company, you have great benefits, PTO, vacation time, you're paid pretty well, but the culture sucks or it's a toxic place to work. Or maybe the processes just seem really outdated. There's a few steps you can take to help combat this. Some of it's gonna do with the policies that the company has in place, but here we go. The first one is fairly simple. Work on being relatable. Obviously not everyone's going to like you, but if you put your best foot forward and just focus on getting the task done, you're definitely going to win over some people. And as you work with the people, you'll build up even more rapport and trust. And your leaders are also going to take note of that. But giving your best at work comes back down to controlling the controllable. Do the best you can at work, and other people are going to follow suit. And number two is going to be get involved. If you've got some really great ideas that can help the company, put them out there. And if you have an open-minded manager, they'll definitely give them a shot. Before I was a manager, I would often just put my ideas into play, see how they would affect the company. And if it was positive and it worked out, I let my manager know, hey, this is what I've been doing to get this resolved. Quite a few times I got the okay from my bosses and they were like, hey, you know what, Jonathan? That is a great idea. We're going to implement this. By getting involved and being a subject matter expert, you can help improve store processes that oftentimes get overlooked that no one ever really thought about before. And volunteering to head up different store projects can really help as well. I remember when I was an assistant manager, we had a project called a store refresh. And so we had to stay overnight inside of the store to get the task done. It was me and I believe about 6 or 7 other associates. And basically we had to flip the store from one side to the other. And at my company, we barely ever move the merchandise like some other stores. Everything just kind of sits there and then you just reset it on a daily basis. But I had this one rock star that worked with me who helped me lead the team every single night. And what ended up happening was we were able to complete the project in 4 days instead of the target of 6. Things like that will have your team looking to you for direction, even if you're not in a management role. And when a management role does open up, best believe your boss has paid attention to the efforts you put in and are going to be considering you. Other ways to get involved is celebrating your people. So you might just be an associate, but typically we spend more time with our coworkers than anyone else. I had this one associate on my team, and on a few different occasions, we had these ladies at the store who were pregnant. And this girl would go all out for the baby showers. There would be plenty of food, giant balloons, decorations. She would put out the works. And things like that can really shift the culture in your store in a positive way. At my old company, when I got my first promotion to store manager, I took over a brand new store. And one of the things that we used to have were safety celebrations. And during those safety celebrations, at that store, it was even a step further. They would celebrate the birthdays of every employee for the month, which is really a great way to build rapport with your team. Another thing that really helps build your team culture is public recognition. We used to have a company program where you would recognize your teammates with these little cards. And what that would do is you would put it on the wall in the break room for everyone to see. And it could be for them doing a great job in the fitting room, keeping their cashiering score up. Maybe they're great at processing merchandise in the stock room. But that public recognition and putting it up for the team to see really help boost morale. One other great thing that companies do, employee of the month. Getting their picture taken and putting them on the wall, I really think is a great thing. If you take care of your people and they genuinely feel like you care about them, they're going to want to go above and beyond. It can be hard to get people's buy-in if you're not in a leadership role, but that brings us to the next step. Number 3, level up. If you feel like you can make a difference, but you're not in that particular role, find out what you can do to get there. What's it going to take for you to get from point A to point B? And once you get that promotion, start driving your ideas. I don't really know how this got started, but every single morning inside of my break room, my stock team would have a full-on spread of food. And it's not like they went out and bought stuff every day. They had to come to work at 3:45 a.m. And these ladies were cooking. Like, it was homemade Mexican food. And it was good. There was a 24-hour McDonald's in the parking lot, but they're like, nah, we're not eating that. We are cooking. Every single day was like a fiesta. Because of all the time they spent bonding together, they formed a bit of a sisterhood. You know, it would be later in the day and you would see them come in shopping, or you see them around town together. And it was really cool because all the time they spent together, they ended up forming a really great synergy, and they would be able to perform tasks just like that because they were so in sync with each other. And little things like that are not only going to influence the culture, but also the processes and the workspace. And I'll probably make a different video about this at another time, but step 4, if you're in a toxic environment, there's a few things you can do about it. Number 1 would be notify your manager. So what I used to do, and I learned this from other managers I had, was you would bring them into the office and make them talk it out. You would mediate, and then you would let the 2 associates that had the problem talk it out with each other. So if you're in a leadership role, that might be the best thing to do. Hear out both sides separately, then bring them together and be like, hey, here's what we got going on. I want to hear from both you guys. How do we solve this? And if that doesn't work, well, then you might need to involve management that's even higher level than your store, or maybe even human resources. And number 2, if you're in a role that's equal to them, and you're not shy or intimidated, try to talk it out with them. Oftentimes the problems aren't that big, and you could probably solve it on your own if you just approach them in an open way and be like, hey, let's talk about this. And then number 3, if you're in a really toxic environment, especially if the place doesn't have a human resources, and you know nothing's going to be done about that associate, let them lose you. I'm a big believer in budgeting and saving, and so when I decided to leave retail, I was able to just walk away, and I didn't have to worry about anything for like 6 months. I could really just focus on the career change and job hunting that I was aiming to do, which is something you can do too if you live below your means. But that's another video. Another really great tool is to see if your company has a suggestion box. At my old company, we had one of these, and the cool thing was if the company took your suggestion and they rolled it out to all the stores, you got paid for it. Who wouldn't want to do that? But even if your company doesn't, and you have great ideas, still pass them on to your leadership, because it might just be the thing that makes the big difference. For over 3 years, we had the best retention in the district, and that comes from having a healthy work culture. The way you treat people and your teammates is going to speak volumes. But you're like, hold up, John, none of that's my problem. The pay here just sucks. Everything else is great here, but I need to make more money. Well, there's usually ways to do that, but it will come with sacrifice, and that sacrifice is typically your time. A few ways is if you're a part-time associate or even seasonal, and you know that you want to continue with the company, let your bosses know you're open to pick up extra shifts, or if people call out, you're open to taking their shifts and that you're available to be called in at any time. There's also the factor of yearly focal reviews. Lots of things go into the consideration of those. Your overall job performance, your overall attendance, if you got complaints from customers, if you got compliments from customers, the metrics you're scored upon, such as how fast you cashier or how fast you're able to process merchandise, they all play a big factor in what you're being rated. And the best thing for you to do is, again, control the controllable. Give 110% every day, just kill it at work, and don't give them a reason to give you a low score on your evaluation. And one of the things that one of my high-performing associates did, and it was kind of cool, was they made a list of all the things they had done for the company, and they hadn't had any write-ups, and they wanted to review it with me before their focal review. I definitely paid attention to that. Some companies offer what are called merit raises, and they're for very high-performing individuals. This is outside of the focal review. So if you're being asked to do lots of different tasks, but you're still the same level as another associate, find out what can be done for you. Typically, these are approved by management outside of your store, so like at a district manager level or higher, but it doesn't hurt to find out. If you really love your job, change can start with you. But if you don't take any action, nothing's going to happen. So give it a shot. And if you really need to change your job and you're like, I'm just tired of this, I need something better, I need higher pay, well, check out this. Like and subscribe if you found value from this video, and I will see you on the next one.